Hare Krishna, Mataji's. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam to all devotees.
Dandat Pranam.
It is our great pleasure we have Govardhan Das Prabhu. He is senior disciple of His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj, and he is very qualified in Shastras. And in Surabaya, because of him, we are continuing in Krishna consciousness. So, education point of view, Prabhuji is a marine engineer, and he has worked in Singapore. And last 7-8 years, he is serving in Surabaya, one of the biggest shipping company, as a general manager. Prabhuji has very great enthusiasm for preaching. Anytime he is ready to preach. And whenever opportunity is given, he may forget his lunch or dinner, but he is always prepared to give class or help the devotees. So definitely his realization great. And Prabhuji has run the one program in Kirtaniya Sadahari in Singapore, Namhat program. Mataji is also very enthusiastic in preaching. Both Prabhuji and Mataji, they are teaching the online classes to the students, young boys. And Prabhuji is qualified to preach 5 years, 6 years children, 10 years children, and 80, 90 years also. So his qualification is really great. So today, I don't want to take long time. I want Prabhuji to give his realization to us so we can improve our chanting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prabhu has said just now, I mean, it's take it with a pinch of salt, you know. So it's just our effort to reach that position, actually, in the service of Guru and Krishna. I hope everybody can hear me clearly.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we'll start now with prayers to Guru, to the Vaishnavas, to the Lordships, and with the blessings, we will start speaking and listening. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sadvajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratashe Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Anand Leela Maya Vigrahaya, He Madhavya Chavi Sundaraya, Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. I'm very happy to join all of you, dear devotees. All of you are coming together to chant, together, and then hearing the glories of chanting. It's a very glorious thing to do, actually. And coming together like this and chanting, even if it's once a week or a few times a week, it is important that we are doing it in association, and that increases our determination and enthusiasm. So you inspire us and increase the faith in us in the holy name of the Lord. Thank you very much for your association and giving an opportunity to do Hari Kirtan. Most of us know why Hari Kirtan should be done, what is the necessity, and what is the benefit of Hari Kirtan. It is very powerful and it is very effective. So, and as we have heard many times, Prabhupada tell us, it does not depend on one's knowledge of it. Whether we know or whether we don't know, it doesn't matter. What is the meaning? It doesn't matter. So, like for an example, a deceased person, he knows he is deceased. There's some problem with him, so he wants to find a cure. So what does he do? He goes to a doctor, and doctor, he knows medical science. He has the knowledge, and he prescribes medicine. So this person, he goes to the shop and he buys the medicine. The patient doesn't know what the tablet contains, but he takes the tablet and he gets cured. Similarly, whether we know or not, what is this Mahamantra, what is the meaning, why people are doing it, what is the benefit, whether he knows or not, just take part in Hari Kirtan, and then automatically we get cured of our material disease. There's a nice verse in Bhagavatam, 6-19. Yatha gadam viryatamam upayuktam yadrichaya ajanatopyatma gunam kuryan mantro pyudarataha. This then comes in Ajamila's pastime. So if a person unaware of the effective potency of a certain medicine takes the medicine, or even if he's forced to take it, some patients don't like to take, but we have to force them to take it. So it will act even without his knowledge, because its potency does not depend on the patient's understanding. So Viryatamam, the holy name, is very powerful actually. Even though one does not know the value of chanting, if one chants knowingly or unknowingly, the chanting will be very, very effective. So this chanting must be done to remove effects of our bad karma, our sinful activities we are doing. So Hare Krishna. Okay, so the above verse, this verse is from Ajamila's pastime. So we know how the Yamaduts came to pick Ajamila, because he had become very sinful. Though he was very pious initially, due to his piety, he could take the name of the Lord towards the end of his life, which was pious activities in the initial part of his life. But due to his, his book was very big, which Chitragupta was maintaining, containing all the sinful activities of his, So that's why the Yamadutas came. to see him, to take him away, you know. So the tendency is to gratify our senses. Any activity which is performed without remembrance of Krishna, against Krishna's instructions, it becomes sinful, you know. So, and for that, we have to suffer the reactions of our karma. So this Chitragupta keeps track of everything. So we'll wonder how Chitragupta knows, you know. So all these things, you know, there are so many witnesses, you know, like Bhagavatam says, the sun is a witness, the moon is a witness, the wind is a witness, you know, the other living entities are witness. The super soul is the greatest witness, you know. So they keep track of everything. Everything is going, you know, like a supercomputer, you know, it just goes everything into Chitragupta's database, you know, and he keeps track of it. And we have to answer for all these things. So this is these kind of tendencies, you know, make us animalistic. You know, when we turn away from Krishna, like Prabhupada said, you know, two-legged animals. Prabhupada said, right? Two-legged animals. So they become two-legged animals. So there was a guru, you know. So he gave he told every day his disciple used to go and take bhiksha, you know, and then they used to get some rice, some dal, vegetable and all that. When he used to bring back, then they used to cook and they used to offer to Krishna and eat as prasadam. So one day the guru told him, you take this specs and you wear this, but you should take bhiksha only from human beings. You know, he told him you take only from the human beings. You know, so now the human, he wore the specs. This man, he wore the specs, and he went to the first village. He saw all animals. You know, he went to the second village, again animals. Like that, he went so many village after village after village, and it became up to evening. And he was seeing only animals everywhere, you know. Finally, towards evening, he saw two human beings, and then he got some rice from them, and he went and gave to the guru. You know? And the guru said, I've been waiting for so long. You know, Krishna is waiting. Why you came so late? So then he said, the disciple said that this is, you know, I could not see any human beings. I could see only animals everywhere. You know, so this is what the story is telling us, is that the people have all become two-legged animals because of their sinful tendencies and sense gratificatory nature, you know, and they become so attached to this material possessions, to their body, you know, and this is increasing their sinful tendencies. So in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, in the first verse, Krishna tells Arjuna about the banyan tree, which is upside down, you know, with its roots up and the branches down. So, you know, in that, the Krishna talks about cutting the roots of this tree, you know, and by you know, completely, you know, severing this, removing this tree, you know, Krishna talks about it actually. So, you know, this Brahman effulgence, you know, cannot remove even a leaf from this tree, even a leaf. But devotional service can completely cut this tree from the roots by the weapon of detachment. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. You know, so you can, by this devotional service can cut it off. The Mahajan, you know, Yamaraj says to his duties, to his dutas, you know, in 6.3.22, you know, etavan eva lokesmin pumsam dharma parasmritaha bhakti yogo bhagavati tannama granadivihi. You know, devotional service, and this devotional service, what is this devotional service? By which we can, you know, which can be the weapon, you know, the devotional service can cut the roots of the tree by the weapon of detachment. And what is this devotional service? This devotional service, it begins with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord and is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. So, chanting of the holy name is the ultimate supreme perfection of all Vedic sadhanas. Rupa Goswami quoted in Namastra that there is no difference between the name of the Lord and the Lord himself. Still, the name of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord himself. The name of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord himself, though they are identical. One who commits offense at the lotus feet of the Lord can be released from this by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Once Ram was sitting with Sita, and Lakshman was on the side, and Hanuman was sitting at the feet of Lord Ram. And Hanuman had closed his eyes and he was chanting the names of the Lord, Ram, Ram, Ram. He was chanting. And then Lord Ram looked at Hanuman and he smiled, and he told Hanuman, everybody wants to take my darshan, and they want to take my darshan, and they want to attain my pure love, and they want to serve me, they want to have my association. And here you're just next to me, but you're closing your eyes, and you're chanting my name. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? So Hanuman looked at Lord Ram, and he said, "Oh Ram, when you had come to Ayodhya, down to the earth, and you liberated all those people, so many living entities you liberated, and they attained pure love for you. But your name is purifying people, the living entities, even after you have departed. It's continuing to purify and will continue to purify the living entities in the future also. So your names are even greater than you, and that is why I'm closing my eyes and chanting your names. This is the thing. So Prabhupada also has given this example, right? The fire does not distinguish between an elder person and a baby. It has the same effect when any of them comes in contact with the fire. Similarly, the names of the Lord have a purifying effect on us, whether we understand the meaning of the names or not, even if we don't have faith. The names of the Lord will give us the ultimate goal of our life, Krishna, Prema, Bhakti. The names of the Lord will give us the ultimate goal of our life, Krishna, Prema, Bhakti. There's a nice, we'll see now how the Lord's names transforms us. In 5.135 of Bhagavatam, there's a nice verse, Naivam vida purushakara urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa jita sadgunanam chitram vidura vigata sakrit adadita yannamadheya madhuna sajahati bandham. So here Shukdev Goswami says, my dear king, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord can transcend the influence of the 6 material waves, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. So, and he can conquer the mind and the 5 senses. But this is not very wonderful for a pure devotee of the Lord, because, even a person, who is beyond the 4 castes, that is an untouchable person, he is immediately relieved from bondage of material existence if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Okay, so you can see how the name of the Lord is so powerful that it purifies even the so-called untouchable. So Shukdev Goswami says it is not a great wonder that the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord can help us transcend so many things. So what is the big deal in that? the name of the Lord is even more powerful, So it relieves instantly from the bondage to material existence, right? So Prabhupada says in the purport that a Brahmana may not be a Brahmana, even though born in a so-called Brahmana family, even though he may be born, means his body is definitely, it is not like a Brahmana's body, though he is born in a Brahmana family. However, even Vidura Vigata, a Chandala, in Vidura Vigata, that means in this verse it is given the untouchable, the fifth class untouchable. If he is freed, if he utters the holy name even once. This Sanatana Goswami also confirms this, Yatha Kanchanatam Yati Kamsyam Rasa Vidhanatah Tatha Diksha Vidhanena Dvijatvam Jayate Nanam. When a person, even though a Chandala, is initiated by a pure devotee, into chanting the holy name of the Lord, his body changes. His body changes, as he follows the instructions of the spiritual master. Although we cannot see how the body is changing, but on the ground, based on the authoritative statements of the scriptures, there is a change in the body, and that is understood without arguments. It's clearly written in this verse, Sa Jahati Bandham, he gives up his material bondage, which comes according to the karma. So although we cannot see the gross body changing, chanting the holy name of the Lord immediately changes the subtle body. There is mind, intelligence, and false ego. And because the subtle body changes, the living entity is immediately freed from material bondage. So after all, changes of gross body are conducted by the subtle body. Like our mind, intelligence, and ego affects our gross body also. So after the destruction of the gross body, the subtle body takes a living entity from this present gross body to another, Vayur Gandham Ivashaya, Krishna says in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. In the subtle body, the mind is predominant. And therefore, if one's mind is always absorbed in remembering the activities of the lotus feet of the Lord, he is to be understood to have already changed his present body and become purified. The mind is always absorbed in remembering the activities of lotus feet of the Lord. He is to be understood to have already changed his present body and become purified. Therefore, it is irrefutable that a Chandala or any fallen or low-born person can become a Brahmana simply by the method of bona fide initiation. So even a Chandala can be transformed. So our bodies are forced to respond according to the influence of the modes of material nature, right? In Bhagavad-Gita 3:27, Krishna says that Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha. But due to the transformation of the body by chanting, the response to the influence of the modes of material nature changes. The modes of material nature are acting on us. The three gunas are acting on us. But once our body transforms by chanting, the way we respond to these influences changes. The tamgun will act on us, but since our body has changed, our thinking has changed, we will not respond like how we responded before. Correct? So that we can see in the lives of so many devotees, from Bhagavatam, like Mrigari, how he changed, totally he changed. So he responded differently. Previously, when he was seeing animals, he was, he wanted to kill the animals, half kill, and he enjoyed them, seeing them die. But later on, he could not bear to even harm an ant. So he was like that. He's totally transformed. So there's a nice story of a Maharashtrian saint, called Chokamela. And, so it's a very, very touching story. These pastimes, they increase our faith, because when we see how their lives transform, then we become even more, convinced that, this path is really the only means by which, we can attain Krishna Bhakti, you know. So this Chokamela, he lived in a place called Mangala Vedha, that is near Pandharpur in Maharashtra in the 14th century, you know. So he was born in the lower caste, you know, Mahar, you know, they call Mahar actually. So this is similar to what in relation to the verse we just spoke about, 5:135 in Bhagavatam. But his devotion to Lord Vitthal was very pure and unmatched. You know, Choka, he had his wife called Soyarabai. They used to go to Pandharpur on the day of Ekadashi to attend the puja and celebrations. They used to go, you know. And in fact, on Ekadashis, devotees go and they celebrate Vaikuntha Ekadashi is very special. And they walk all the way, you know, from different parts of Maharashtra to Pandharpur. You know, they're called Varkaris. And, you know, they're always doing kirtan in the footsteps, following in the footsteps of Tukaram. But now, but because of his birth in the lower caste, he was not allowed to enter the temples or attend any celebrations. So he used to stand at a distance and watch. Once his wife and he, you know, met Sant Namadev. Namadev was a very great devotee, you know, and he saw Krishna everywhere, you know. With Namadev, he saw Krishna everywhere. Once, you know, somebody told Namadev that, you know, you are not a devotee, you're not a good devotee of the Lord, you know, you are not doing this and that. And Namadev got very, very disappointed. And he went to a cemetery, you know. When he went to the cemetery, he suddenly saw a ghost. And when he saw the ghost, immediately he he became ecstatic and started doing kirtan of the Lord. And then the ghost was wonderstruck. He said, "What has happened?" And he asked him, what are you doing? You know, why are you dancing like normally people are afraid of ghosts? He said that Namdev replied that, oh Lord, I've seen you in so many different places, but I've not seen such a vichitra form of yours, you know, and I feel very ecstatic when I see the form. So Namdev was such a great devotee that he was seeing the Lord everywhere. He was seeing the Lord. He saw the Lord even in the ghost. He didn't get scared. He didn't get fearful. So this Namdev, they met, Choka Mela and his wife. Though they wanted to go near him and offer respects, because they were lower caste, they stayed back. You know. And then Namdev noticed it and he told Choka that God never distinguishes, you know, his children due to high caste or low caste, rich or poor, educated or non-educated. You know, it is pure love and devotion that distinguishes a bhakta from an ordinary man. So Namdev placed his hands on Choka's head and he asked him to continuously chant the name of Lord Panduranga. Now Choka got in touch with a pure devotee of the Lord, you know, direct contact. So by doing so, now eventually he would be able to meet the Lord, you know, and manage all the sorrows and happiness in the samsara. You know. So he was initiated this way. He was initiated by the poet saint, you know, Namdev. So Chokoba, you know, in Maharashtra they call like that. Chokoba, you know, his life changed completely, and devotion to Lord Vithoba, you know, Vithala, became the goal in his life. So even though he was uneducated, he started composing abhangas. You see the mercy of a pure devotee, right? He started composing abhangas on Lord Vithoba and also about his experiences in his own life. In one of the abhanga, he wrote, you know, Ama na kale jnana, na kale purana, Vedanse vachana na kale ama, Choka mane maza bhola, bhai deva, gain keshava nama tuze. You know, I do not understand intellectual literature, nor the scriptures. I do not understand the essence of the Vedas. Choka says, my devotion is naive, my Lord Keshava, and I can only sing your name. So Choka used to constantly chant the name of Panduranga and clean the temple premises daily, although he was not allowed to enter the sanctum. Around he was cleaning due to his birth in the lower caste. One day, one day someone asked him, told him the futility of his devotion. He said, "You are born in a lower caste. You'll never be able to see God." And Choka, he was very humiliated, very hurt, and he stopped taking food and he started crying and crying and crying. And then Panduranga appeared before him, and Panduranga embraced him. He took him inside the temple and spoke to him. The priest was very angry. He said, "How could you enter this temple?" He wanted him to stay across the river, of the river Chandrabhaga, So Choka, he pleaded and pleaded. He said, "Please, please don't do this to me. I want to stay near Panduranga. I want to serve him. So then, but no one would listen to him. So he had to stay across the river. And then what happened? The Lord started visiting Choka every day, and both of them used to take lunch together. So one day, the priest was passing by Choka's house, and Choka was taking lunch with Panduranga, and Soyara Bai, his wife, was serving. So priest could not see Panduranga because he was impure, So Soyara, while serving curd to Panduranga, it fell on his dhoti, the pitambar. Oh, the Choka said, "Oh, Choka, oh, Soyara, you have, spoiled Panduranga's dhoti, So the priest, when he heard it, and he thought Choka is just trying to show his devotion. He went and he slapped Choka on his face, And later this Brahmana bathed in the river and he went across, He went back. The next day, the priest was stunned to see Lord Vitthala's cheek, it was swollen. So then he realized the intensity of Choka's devotion to the Lord. He asked Choka's forgiveness and requested him to pacify the Lord, So Choka went to Lord Vitthala and prayed to Lord Vitthala and to pacify him. So after some time, Choka was forced to return to Mangalaveda. He is from Mangalaveda. So there, the people wanted to create a wall to separate the Shudra people from other people. So while he was working there, he was killed. Choka was killed. When the wall collapsed and he was crushed. So Namdev was very, very grieved on the death of a great devotee. He went to Mangalaveda to find, his remains of his body. He picked up those bones. And then the bones were murmuring, Vitthala, 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 like that. So these bones were buried at the bottom of the steps, from the gate, there are steps, right? So the bottom of the steps, they buried his bones there, outside the main temple of Pandharpur, So Choka used to usually stand there full day, So then later on, they built a samadhi there in Choka's honor. All devotees, they visit this Choka shrine before they go up to take darshan of Lord Vitthal. So we can see here that constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord and changed and purified the saint's body such that even the bones were vibrating the holy names. So this is the power of chanting the holy names of the Lord, how it can transform us, My Guru Maharaj said that there is a spiritual radiation from the bones, even from the samadhi of a pure devotee. This is the power of chanting, actually. And to chant with such purity, we must have strong faith in chanting. And how do we develop this faith in chanting? This faith is developed by studying Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita, by listening to the vibrations of Krishna's words and Krishna's activities, by the association of the pure devotees, and hearing about their lives. Even as we read Bhagavatam, we are actually associating with the pure devotees in Bhagavatam. This is the process of purification. The regular study of Bhagavatam, we saw in 1 to 18, we say, right, Nasta Prayeshu, Abhadreshu. All this Abhadra is vanquished from our hearts and our lives. Then our heart becomes fit for Krishna to reside. In other words, we start realizing the presence of Krishna in our hearts, and this is very, very important. So, the Narad Muni requested the 4 Kumaras to recite Bhagavatam, right? So the four Kumaras, before they started reciting Bhagavatam, they said, Sada Sevya, Srimad Bhagavati Katha, Yasya Shravana Matrena, Haris Chittam Samashraye. Srimad Bhagavatam must be read and heard at every step, because just by hearing or reading it, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna manifests in the heart. Then our chanting becomes more and more offenseless, and eventually we can chant the names like Chokamela did. So our chanting will become more and more offenseless, and we have more faith, and eventually we can chant names like Chokamela. And this is the way we transform our lives. Hare Krishna. Prabhu's Mataji's. I think we'll come to
Any devotee has
questions
questions.
or any other points. Kindly let us know. Yeah.
Sagre Prabhu, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Prabhuji,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, I cannot turn on my video. I have one question.
Yes.
You mentioned that whoever, even Chandala, gets initiated by a pure devotee, his mind, intelligence, and the false ego will be purified, and he will be transcendental to the three modes gradually, and his body also see the changes, correct?
Yes.
And then you explained about that that
Chokamela.
inverted banyan tree. If
Yes.
through Brahman effulgence we cannot even move, or we cannot cut even a single leaf of the inverted banyan tree of this material world.
Yes.
Can you give a little more insights, Prabhuji? Why references?
The thing is, Prabhuji, we saw like what you said from about the transformation. We saw how even a lower caste, that is the Chokamela's pastime, right? We saw how he got transformed. Okay. Now the Brahman effulgence is the impersonal form of realizing the Lord, right? Vadanti tat tatpavidas. You know that verse in Bhagavatam, Brahmiti Paramadmiti Bhagavaniti Shabdate. So you can realize the Lord in three different levels actually. First level is the Brahman realization, the Brahman effulgence which we spoke about. That is the impersonal form of the Lord, right? The second is the Paramatma feature, and the third is the actual personal form of the Lord. We can realize the Lord in his personal form, So this detachment from this material world, from all our material connections, is possible permanently only through the realizing the personal form of the Lord, right? The Bhagavan feature of the Lord, correct? By the impersonal form, you may transcend for a while. You may your senses are isolated from the sense objects, and you may be situated for a while in the Brahman effulgence. But what happens is the senses need to be engaged always. Prabhupada said the senses will become bored. They don't know what to do. Then eventually they will fall down, because the nature of the senses is to be active, to perform activities. So if you just maintain them without doing anything, it is not possible actually. You cannot remain in the Brahman effulgence. So basically, the attachment doesn't go. Even like the impersonalists, they say we have to become desireless. So, but even though they say desireless, they still have a desire. That is to become one with the Lord, to become God himself. So the detachment is not complete. They cannot get detached. They have to come back to this material world again. So
thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, that is the thing.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, I have a question, Prabhuji. You mentioned that the way to improve the faith in the Lord's holy names is by doing Krishna Kada, reading Bhagavatam, understanding, and being in the association of the devotees, right?
Yes, yes.
So myself, in spite of being doing all of that, still my offensive chanting is continuing. How am I to understand? Is it that my understanding of the scriptures or the hearing is improper, or how can I correct myself from this offensive chanting?
So you're saying that in spite of reading Bhagavatam, in spite of association of devotees, you don't have faith in chanting, Prabhuji? You're saying that?
Offenseless chanting, the stage of offenseless chanting, I'm not able to reach. So mind is still thinking about so many things. And so how can I reach that offenseless chanting?
Yes, Prabhuji. So we know what are the 10 offenses, right? I mean, fortunately, the Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Fortunately, Prabhupada has given us, the 10 offenses clearly, So this, first of all, what my Guru Maharaj mentioned was, you don't worry about your progress, whether you're chanting offensively or you're not chanting offensively, it doesn't matter. You just go on chanting. That's all. The same thing I heard from Bhakti Vinod Thakur's quote also, that just keep chanting. Somebody asked Prabhupada, how do I chant quality rounds? So Prabhupada looked at the devotee and he said, chant more. Increase quantity, quality will come. Prabhupada said. So the thing is, you just continue to have faith in the process, and you keep chanting. That's all, Prabhuji. And then automatically Krishna will guide you from your heart, that as you chant, as the impurities get cleared off, right, from your heart, you will start hearing Krishna's guidance, and as you hear Krishna's guidance, you can become even more offenseless. So this is what happens. And this guidance can come from the heart. It can come externally direct from the Guru, because Guru also is Paramatma, is a form of Paramatma, actually. And it may come from the devotees around you, So just keep chanting, Prabhuji. And now we know the 10 offenses. So even voluntarily, we can try to follow those 10 instructions. But the most importantly, what I find is at every step, there are so many instructions given by Guru Maharaj, right? So by the spiritual master. So just hear your spiritual master every day. Listen to the spiritual masters every day. And also, like for example, we have every week, we Maharaj's lecture, all the God brothers, God siblings, we come together and discuss one lecture of Maharaj, not full lecture, we just continue week after week. So what happens is, as we discuss these things, right, the points which Maharaj has given us, it becomes very strong in us, and we keep remembering his instructions at every step of our life. Even during the day, as I'm doing various activities, right, I'll think, Maharaj said this for this, Maharaj said that for this. Oh, I must behave like this because Maharaj said this, Maharaj said that, Maharaj said that. So I just keep remembering that throughout the day. And I find that Maharaj has given instruction for almost everything. Whole life actually, for even every situation he has given us. So I keep remembering like this, So this helps me to become offenseless, Prabhuji. So, and it increases my faith also. So hearing your spiritual master, Prabhupada's lectures every day, discussing them sincerely, and Krishna will give the remembrance. What Maharaj told us, one more point. Whenever even if you're hearing the class, right, when you're hearing, if you're sincerely hearing in the class, right, after the class, you may feel that you have forgotten, something, oh, I don't remember what Prabhu said. I don't remember what Mataji said. You may forget, but my Guru Maharaj said that Krishna will give you remembrance at the right time, to remember those instructions and carry out your activities, So in this thing, like sincere listening is required. So when you remember the instructions and carry out the activities, then again you become offenseless, The other point, Prabhuji, is every time we think, say something or do something, when we think, say or do something, always remember, if my Guru is here or Krishna is here, will I do this or will I not do this? What they want me to do. If we remember this, again, we will become offenseless, So this is very important. A lot of times we are just impulsive, If somebody tells something, we see somebody doing something, immediately, vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, it just comes like a fourth, boom, So that boom initially will be there, but as we listen more and more, right, then we'll do a boom and then immediately, after maybe 10 hours, we'll remember, I shouldn't have said this. As you get purified, then you will remember after 5 hours that I shouldn't have done this. Then the period will become shorter and shorter. After 5 minutes, you'll remember, I shouldn't have done. Immediately you'll remember, I shouldn't have said this. And later on, it will become your nature and you will not say this. You will not be offensive. So this way, Prabhuji. So the transformation is there. It may be slow, it may be fast, but that is not our concern. Lage raho, Munna bhai. Lage raho. Just keep doing it. That's it. And that is our duty. Just do it. That's all. And you will see that there will be transformation. We don't worry whether I'm changing or not, or this or that. But are we sincere to Krishna? Are we sincere to Guru? That is the most important thing. Yes, Prabhuji. And this one point I wanted to add actually. I think Shanmukh Prabhu had asked one question. I remember about 2 sessions back, how to have faith in Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada's books. I think.
Yes, Prabhuji, I asked.
I remember that you had asked actually. So the faith also will come, Prabhu, like the purity, right? Namdev, he just touched the head of Chokamela. And Chokamela got purified, He completely purified, he got. Similarly, when we don't have to get faith in Prabhupada's books, we have to just be in touch with Prabhupada. Just read his books, So just by reading, the purity of Prabhupada's words will transform us. The touch of Prabhupada will transform us. And when what Prabhupada has written, you put into practice and you see the results in your life, again your faith will increase. So this is the way we have to increase our faith. And you be with the devotees who have practically experienced it, then your faith will increase more. First you hear about it, then you observe the results in other devotees. Then you start living it, then you experience it, and then your faith increases. So like that. So even the pure devotees like Purandar Dasa, he has sung so many kritis, such beautiful songs. These also inspire us, I don't know, maybe some of you may have heard, like Karuni So Ranga, Karuni So, Hagaluri, Hagalu Ninna, Smarani Mare Dante, Karuni So Ranga, Karuni So. He says, just, oh Lord, Panduranga, Krishna, just bless me, just bless me. Let me get your devotion. I don't have any qualification. I cannot serve like Hanuman, I don't have the serving attitude of Hanuman. And I don't even know how to serve and make you happy like Lakshmi. And like that, he gives so many examples in that beautiful song, And then he says, please help me, Purandara Vithala. Salaho Devara Deva, he says, Salaho Devara Deva. So this is the thing. So by being in touch with these pure devotees and with Bhagavatam, right, automatically our faith increases and our sincerity increases, enthusiasm increases. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think I took a little more of your time. Sorry.
Anybody has a question? Maybe Prabhuji can give more little time. Seems nobody has a question. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving your insights. Definitely it will help us to improve our chanting. And Kirtan Krishna. Thank you very much. His Grace Govardhan Prabhu ki jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna. Thank you very much.
Ram Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.